Hi everybody, welcome to Live with Chaudhry here at Analytica. It's day 2 in Munich. I'm delighted to be joined by Bjorn from Metrohm, who's going to give me a quick overview of Metrohm and what they're talking to visitors about this week at Analytica. First of all, Bjorn, good afternoon, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Hi.
It's lovely to see you. So, before we start talking about Metrohm and what you're talking to visitors about, how has Analytica gone so far this week?
I think it's pretty great, especially after COVID. Didn't expect that so many people will really show up. I enjoy it. It's going pretty well, I think.
Brilliant. Now, for those people not familiar with Metrohm, can you give me a quick overview of the company?
So, as you said, we are Metrohm. I think we are the biggest supplier when it comes to titration. We are doing a lots of stuff in case of ion analytics. So we have titration, we have chromatography, we have some spectroscopy, and of course some process stuff. And we are present all over the world.
Brilliant. Now, what are you specifically talking to visitors about this week?
So, as I'm responsible for our new software platform specifically, which we call OMNIS, I'm mainly here to answer specific questions, especially about our newest release, which includes client-server, and of course a lot of compliance functionalities which we have in that product.
Fantastic. Well, look, tell me a bit more about OMNIS than the client-server software.
Yeah, so if you have time, I can show you here. I have opened up some stuff for you here. So this is our modern user interface which we have here. So I try to show you some stuff especially about compliance and later on also a little bit about client-server. And I think what's pretty unique is that we store, especially when you work with, let's say, digital electrodes, we have the ability to store all the data about calibration and uses directly on our electrodes, and the same for solutions. But I think it would make sense when we first just go to the hardware, and I can show you there something.
All right, so what we'll do, viewers, is I'm going to pause this now for a second, so you don't really watch me filming Bjorn walk across a big booth, and we'll go to the instrument. So bear with us and see you in a sec. So by magic, we're over by the OMNIS Client. I get my teeth in, titrator. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think the titrator, I think this is the newest baby we have in case of titration, but I think for me personally what is much more impressive, this is one of these digital electrodes which we talked about, which can store all the calibration data, production data, so everything which you need for compliance and tracking and tracing is here.
Yep.
And what's also pretty interesting and unique is that we do that also with, let's say, with the solutions which used to work. This is an RFID system. Either you produce your solutions by yourself, or of course there are in the meanwhile a couple of manufacturers which you can buy the chemicals directly, and all the necessary data, they are at opening of the bottle, they are directly available. And what we can do with the data, I think we go back again to the OMNIS system and I can show you.
Right, so we're going to pause the video once again, viewers, and by magic we'll be back behind the screen. So bear with us once again. So now we're back at the screen. So Bjorn, tell me more about the data you get there from the electrodes.
So, as I have opened here in the hardware or in the equipment section of our software, I have opened you here, let's say, a specific data set from one of the so-called Tetrode, which is a digital pH electrode which we have here. And just as you can see, so all the data is stored directly on the electrode, of course with all the necessary compliance data you need, validity, who has done, what was the cross-link to the real determination where the calibration have been done, and of course also who has done it. Of course this is currently just a sample, but this is all stored.
Right.
And the same thing, of course, I can also, I try to take a solution. Just as an example, I will take so-called multi-use, which is a solution which is done by yourself, but still all the data are also here, are stored, despite of the normal information. Of course, in the specific data, you see you have the ability to store all the data about the solutions, working life, stuff like titer data, history, different components, and so on. And this is all digitally stored, cross-linked, and always available. And the good thing is, it has to be present during the analysis. It's not just read in, and then you still can mix up something. It's always connected to the system so that you have the right data, and that you also, in case of chemicals, do not get in contact with chemicals because the connection is contact-free. And if I just jump over, that you get an overview about that, I can show you, I just take one sample. If I go in, we have here, I call it the GMP, not the FDA section. I make it bigger now, so that we have the full view.
Yep.
And despite of that, I can see, of course, what kind of process has been used to determine that chloride content. I can also see what kind of equipment was used. So it's really down to every serial number, every part which can have an influence, let's say, on the actual value which you go to determine. And when we come back here we have the sensors, all the data to the sensors, and when I come to the solution, of course, also everything which we need to the solution directly read out of that digital stuff.
Right, okay. And you talked to me before we started the interview about, obviously, people can access the data remotely, and lots of people can, with their workflows or methods, all have access to the method. But if the parameters aren't correct, or someone finds an incorrect parameter, you can withdraw the method.
Yeah, so this is a pretty cool functionality which we have in our client server system. So I just jump over here. I have prepared you here. We can see we have a method here.
Yeah.
We have then a real process at the end where the method is running. This is just an example, it's a weight and the calculation just for demo purposes now. But the thing is, you can see here with this icon, this thing was published. And if I now have the problem that I found out, oh, here is something wrong, I have the ability, we can also see it here, this is all here, that I can say, I try to withdraw it, because
right.
now, and at the moment in time, you can see that I do that. No one in the world is able to work with this operating procedure anymore. We can change it. And then when I'd like to give it free, of course, I have the opposite direct and I can publish again. All the analysis go on and everyone again on the world can work. And like that, you have the perfect control about your processes and methods. You can produce them or develop them locally, spread them globally, and still you have the complete control over it. If you find any mistakes or you need to have a new version, whatever, depend on how you develop further or your company changes the processes. And I think this is a pretty unique feature also here, despite, of course, normal client-server functionality which you can expect in this digital age which we have. Of course, you can use the system all over the world. All this stuff, of course, is given. So for me, this is, of course, for customer, this is fantastic. For me, this is just how a modern system today has to work. And yeah, this is what I wanted to show you in a short term. These are our, I would say, the most exciting functionalities which I can currently offer.
Fantastic. And one question I was going to ask you though is, in terms of the software, is it only does it only work with Metrohm instruments?
It's like this, that most of it's Metrohm instruments which are running. So this is the latest platform we have, of course, the new one. Also the last generation we implemented completely. The thing is, OMNIS in future will be our only software platform for our company which we have. So things like spectroscopy is already in for process. Lab devices will come in future, and of course I'm from the headquarters. I know we are already working heavily, of course, for chromatography also. There we still have our current system, but in future everything will run inside that platform. Then I had the ability also to have possibility to work with some other companies. So I would like to mention there is the Cubis 2 balance from Sartorius, which is completely implemented, which works like an OMNIS device. So all the compliance data also from that balance are directly show up. And of course we have open interfaces for RS232, also especially for balances, Ethernet interfaces. So you can imagine we also can do a little bit with other brands, of course, also.
Fantastic, Bjorn. Look, I appreciate taking time out to talk to me today. I know you have to run off this afternoon and catch the train, not a plane. So thank you very much for taking time out. Enjoy the rest of the show. Now viewers, if you are here at Analytica this week, then you can find out more about not just the software but all the different instruments they have on display on the booth. And as you can see, they have got a lot on the booth. Here in Hall A1, booth 101, and I can see the number right in front of me, which is why I'm so good at reading it out. But if people aren't here, Bjorn, where else can we get more information about not just the software but other solutions that Metrohm?
I think we have plenty of experts here for every technology we have. We have specific experts. We have, of course, from our German subsidiary, which is running the booth, but for every technology we have also someone who is responsible out from the headquarters. So I think there are no questions to our product portfolio which cannot be answered on that booth today.
If people are not at the show,
yeah,
where else can they get information?
So then go to www.metrohm.com. You will find us all over the world. You will find the responsible experts there. Just write us an email and you will get an answer.
Brilliant. Well, Bjorn, thank you very much for taking part and giving me that demo both on the screen and physically over with the instrument. Viewers, I hope you found that interesting. As I said, if you would like to know more about not just the new software but also the other instruments, check out hall A1, booth 101 and talk to the team. And if you can't do that, check out the website. And until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.